This is a film about our trip to the Red Centre in January. We visited Uluru in the land of the indigenous Anangu Nation and Kings Canyon, 3 hours north, in the land of the Ritja Nation. So that over there is Uluru. The land surrounding it is semi-arid desert. Normally there's about 1 foot of rain here each year. However, it's had about 4 years worth of rain in the last year, so this is the greenest it's been in a couple of decades. The original inhabitants of this area, the Anangu, didn't actually spend much time here in the summer. In the warmer months they would disappear south, returning again in the cooler winter months. Over their 22,000 years of inhabiting the area, they developed a balanced system of land management. The land was burned in small patches on rotation, so that when these areas regenerated with the next rains, there was new growth for the critters at the bottom of the food chain, and therefore new food for the Anangu when they returned. When European settlers arrived on the scene, they broke this cycle of small area burning, and let the kindling build up to a point where a single fire could sweep through hundreds of acres of desert. Burning in small areas allows animals to escape. Burning in large areas kills just about everything. This section I'm standing in right now has obviously been burnt, but all around you can see little patches of new growth. Here is a Google Earth image of Uluru. You can see the Liru walk, which we followed from the cultural centre to the base of the climb. This shows the route of the climb, up a steep ridge, and onto the highest point of the rock. From the base of the climb, Cantu Gorge can be reached on a short walk to the left, and Mutijulu Waterhole, which is a short walk to the right.
Hot, dry desert. Red earth.
The Anangu had been managing and living off the land surrounding Uluru for 22,000 years before the whitefellas discovered it and named it Ayers Rock.
It's a great big rock.
In 1985, the area surrounding Uluru and nearby rock formation of Katachuta was declared a national park and handed back to the Indigenous Land Company to own and manage going forward. The agreement includes a 99-year lease of the land back to the government so that tourism could continue to be developed, as it had done since the 1950s.
It's like a Martian landscape.
Part of this agreement was the condition to provide employment for indigenous people, whether that's in tourism or entertainment, arts, or acting as guides for visitors. The climb runs straight up the ridge in front of us. It is about 300 meters climb, and the walk then goes about 3 times as far as you can see from the base. "27 people have lost their lives on this rock. That's just one of the reasons that climbing it is discouraged." The rock is not as smooth and even as it seems from a distance. There are many curves and undulations and numerous caves. Many of these caves have cultural significance to the local people. Some were reserved for men's activities and some were reserved for women and children. There is even a cave for the old folk who had to stay out of the way and mind the children, while the men were off in their cave busy with secret men's business, and the women were busy with theirs. At the Mutijulu Waterhole here, you can see how the water would collect in all the different ridges and come cascading down to feed the trees that you can see growing here.
You notice when the camel camels are walking, they walk with one side of their body at a time. That gentle rocking motion. Sometimes camels have got that catchphrase, ships of the desert. This area here, there's no surface water out here. There's a little bit out of Cataguna, so you get hot water. We hang around too long, we get up here too early, they'll actually start undoing each other's girths. Camel can undo a knot with his top lip. A lot of them can open up a door handle, like actually turn a doorknob. Like a set of fingers.
What better way to see the desert than from the back of a camel? Our camel ride takes in this magnificent panorama from the resort all the way around to the Catatuta and the rock itself, Uluru.
When they see people turn the taps on, they know they can get water out of them. Camel will just grab that tap and pull it off the side of it.
This map shows our drive from Uluru, past Mount Connor, to Luritja Road, which heads north alongside a mountain range and finally comes out at Kings Canyon.
Got 3 different types of landscape here. You got these ones which look like vases, they sort of close up. And in the background you got the tall, thin, wispy tree things. And then some acacia and temperate stuff. And then you've got what we call the exploding bushes, where the things just explode out the middle and grow new growth straight out the middle of it. It's strange. Over here we've got different terrain yet again. So willowy bushes and holly. There's a holly. Not sure if you can see how red and burnt this is. This is what happens when fire goes through. .44 degrees at the moment.
This is Mount Connor, an extinct volcano on Curtin Springs Cattle Station. There's probably not too many farms that can boast an extinct volcano.
The MacDonald Ranges are a series of parallel ridges. This is the westernmost ridge and gives an indication that Kings Canyon can't be too much further to the north.
Kings Canyon is a high plateau in the MacDonald Ranges, through which a canyon has been carved. Here you can see the canyon, the creek that runs through it giving it its name, and Kings Canyon Resort. You can see in this Google image the extent of the high plateau catchment area. All the water that falls on the surface runs into the Kings Canyon and into Kings Creek, and this is the path our helicopter took as we circled around Kings Canyon on a scenic flight. Professional helicopter services offer scenic flights from both Uluru and Kings Canyon. As we climb, the high plateau comes quickly into view. The 15-minute round trip is fairly leisurely, and the pilot provides an interesting commentary over the headphones. The ridge below to the left is the start of the rim walk. It returns over the top to the right and back to the car park. In front of us is an area known as a lost city, named for its dome-shaped rocks that resemble rooftops. Here you can see the neck of the canyon with the gorge running north to south before twisting east-west. We're now looking north, following the Kings Creek upstream. And here we have flown clean over the other side of the plateau, looking back at its north-facing edge. According to local legend, the plateau was once a dingo god lying on her side. This part is the head. And these are her pups. The walk around the canyon rim starts at 6 a.m. and follows a clockwise path up the north side of the canyon, around the top, across the neck of the canyon, known as the Garden of Eden, and back along the southern ridge. This is the southern side of the canyon, which has a very sharp vertical face, where the softer rock at the bottom has been washed away and great vertical slabs from the top, no longer supported, have crashed to the bottom. And here is the Garden of Eden, which sits at the top of the catchment area before the canyon twists and opens up. It has water in it all year round, which supports an abundance of bird life and provides a cool oasis for hot and bothered tourists.
At the top of the steps on the southern side, we are now looking back onto the northern side, up the valley where you can see the lost city domes clearly carved into the sandstone plateau.
This outcrop is referred to as the Sphinx, for obvious reasons, and it marks the beginning of our descent back down to the car park. By now it's 9 o'clock in the morning, the desert wind is picking up, and it's already about 38 degrees in the shade.